Hello. Who's that for?
What's good, people?
I'll smile.
Yeah, you're smiling. Trying to fix that, but as y'all can see, we voted.
We voted. Did you vote?
Get out and vote, man.
Make it out and vote.
Make it happen. We got to do that. You get one of these nifty-looking stickers here.
She gave me, because she gave me mine without a back, so I had to stick it on something. This is twice the sticker.
But we got it. We voted. High five. Got it.
10.
So listen, we missed you guys last week, but we are back this week in full force. Time to make this thing happen. As always, we put the disclaimer out there that we are not the experts, right? We are just people who are trying to make it, trying to help people along the way. So it's an open and honest conversation. If you guys have any questions or anything you want to talk about, I think the last time we were on here, we actually decided that we were going to do the topic love versus lust. So we gave you guys an extra week to kind of do your homework so that we could have a very detailed conversation about that topic. We're going to ask questions. We're going to talk about it. We want to hear your opinion. We want to hear what you think about it. We want to know, we want to know more about it. What you think. We got some pretty cool shirts on tonight. I'm sporting my United Family Ministry shirt. Shout out to Miss Tina Weaver.
She's giving me tape.
She hooked it up.
Thank you.
Shout out to Miss Marsha Garcia. She hooked Roz's shirt up. I'm gonna let her read it. What does it say? Again. In every season, I will praise Him. So we got some pretty good. We got some pretty good merch.
Hallelujah.
We got some merch going on. Hey, if y'all want one of these shirts so you can represent, let us know. We can make it happen for you. We can reach out. We know people.
It's coming off somewhere.
Yeah, mine too. But we voted.
Yeah,
y'all know it's coming off. If it falls off, just know we did our thing. Anyway, so we just want to say what's up to everybody. If you're out there and you're joining us tonight, give us a shout out. Say what's up. We want to know who you are. We want to know what's going on with you. We want to make sure that we know that the people are out there with us, and just want to say what's up. So drop us a shout real quick.
How has your 2 weeks? How have they been? How has your week been? Usually I say how has your week been, and how has your weeks been? I don't even know if that's the correct way to say it, but I said it.
It sounds correct.
I said it, and you know what I mean. So how y'all doing? Talk to us. Because I don't know how I'm doing. I mean, I'm here, I'm alive, I'm thankful, but I don't know what everything's going on. It's crazy.
There's a lot of stuff going on, man.
So
for sure.
I guess I'm doing okay. Better than fine.
Yeah. I think you're doing just fine. So who's on here with us? Give us a shout out. It says we got a bunch of people here with us. I want to see who's with us. Don't be shy. I won't call you out for too long, I promise. Nobody wants to say what's up?
Well, they're probably trying.
Maybe they're trying.
But maybe the service is slow.
Okay.
I have YouTube over here, and I have Facebook over here. So you can see me looking at you like this, or looking at you like this. But either way, I'm going to be looking at you. Okay? Is that all right? Oh, Heather.
Heather's on. What's up, Heather?
Yeah.
How's Florida? They got your house sold.
Yeah, that's crazy. They sold their house fast.
Yeah, they got it sold.
We miss y'all, though.
Yeah, nobody's going to be like the Barclays.
No. Praying for good neighbors.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, so listen, we're bringing up the subject tonight, love versus lust. Tell us what you think about it. Tell us what it means to you. Tell us what the difference is to you. We're just trying to break it down so other people can understand, and other people will be able to relate. We're just trying to educate, man. This is an educational live session. Is what we want to do. So I'm gonna ask two different questions. Okay. First one, what is love? Second one, what is lust? Love versus lust. I'm gonna give you just a few minutes. What's up, Mom? I see you on here.
Hi, Grammy.
It's good to see you. Your name.
I don't know who else. Good to see you. Good to see your name on here.
So we're talking about love versus lust. Let's get this conversation going. Do you think it's the same thing? Are there differences? Do you think one is better than the other? Have you experienced either? Do you want to talk about it? Let us know what's going on. So I guess I'll just kind of start off by saying this is a subject that we wanted to talk about because it's often confused, right? I mean, a lot of people will feel like they're in love, but in all reality, they're in lust, right? And it all really just kind of depends on how you decide to begin your relationship, right? If you decide,
go ahead.
If you decide to begin your relationship, in a purely physical way, then I mean that's on you, right? I mean, we're not here to judge, say the way you do in your relationship, the way you build in your relationship is wrong. We're trying to give you helpful hints and tips on how to improve upon the relationship, how to make things better if they are not the best, right? So a lot of folks will look at the relationship and they'll confuse lust with love, and the more I think about it, it's really kind of easy to confuse the two, right? Because I mean, if you're talking about making love to somebody, right, that's making love, right, and it's also linked to lust, right? So I think that the big difference, or the big what differentiates lust from love is the type of meaning you have behind it, right? So if you're in a relationship with somebody and you guys have a physical sexual relationship, and you're building on it, right? I mean, it's something that you both want, and you're both kind of growing from it, and you're spending time, and you're giving respect to one another and all this kind of stuff. Those are relationship building principles. Those are things that can lead to love. Now, if you're just with somebody and the relationship is all about just sex, and then there's no really respect, there's no real
communication.
No communication. There's no building on that. Then that is a breeding ground for lust, plain and simple, right? And so when we talk about lust, we talk about that's the desire to be with somebody physically based on physical appearance, right? Not really trying to get into deep thoughts, conversations, none of that stuff. It's just, hey, I'm gonna call you up, right? And we can even say, like, lust to be like what the young people call a booty call, right? Calling somebody up, saying, hey, what you doing? I'm coming over, with the distinct purpose of having sex and moving on, right? That is a breeding ground. No commitment. That is a breeding ground for lust. And so, tell me what you think. Do you think that that's acceptable? I know in today's culture, it's a lot about hooking up, not really putting down roots, not really establishing relationships, but it's just a physical thing, and so which is definitely a breeding ground for lust. So
I think when you start off with lust, it's a breeding ground for lust.
For sure. I would have to agree. And the way you start out is really important. And I mean, we've tackled this subject before. We've tackled this principle before. With us, it is definitely how you start out. You've got to know what you want. You got to understand what you want out of a relationship. You got to understand what your partner wants out of a relationship. Is the understanding the same? Right? Are you guys on the same page? Is this just a time where we're both just going to just call up on another when we want a fix? and keep it like that,
Mhm.
or is it something that we're going to, plan out so that we can, we can build from this? What are you looking for in life at the time? Are you looking for fun? Or are you looking for serious? And then, or are you looking for something that's serious? And so it's something that you got to decide. But it is definitely the way that you start out that shapes the relationship for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. So
I know a lot of times, like the thrill. The
Thrill.
question is like, where's the thrill coming
Mhm.
from? So lust enjoys the fantasy and excitement of the interaction, where love feels risky and vulnerable because it involves opening yourself up and letting yourself also be known.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. I think that.
So that's why I think how they can get confused.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's
Right.
like love goes beyond
Yeah.
that
does.
moment of instant gratification. Lust is instant gratification.
It is. It is.
Go ahead.
Love is not. And so when you think about it, a lot of people who have been, in relationships, who have gone through things, who have made the decision to say, I'm going to open myself up. I want to be in a, monogamous relationship. I want things to be, on the up and up. I want something to grow from this. A lot of people have been in those situations, and sometimes when they're in those situations, they may experience, letdown, disappointment, and so they vow at that point in time to say, look, I'm never going to allow myself to be in this position ever again. And so we try to cut off all of our emotions. We try to cut off all of our feelings. We try to cut off all things that are tied to being, with someone. And we find it easier, right? People find it easier to just be in a place where this is just, something that is going to happen. I'm going to be done with it. There's no feelings attached. I'm not going to get hurt. I'm not going to get, drugged through the mud. But let me tell you something. Whenever you give yourself to somebody, that's a physical tie, right? And it's an emotional tie. And so people that I talk to, sometimes they always say, I can have sex with people and it not affect, my emotions. I can just cut it off right there. Do you believe that's true? Do you believe that you can lay with somebody, you can have sex with somebody, make love to somebody, and there would be no sort of connection or tie or emotional response to that? I'm interested in wanting to know, do you think that you can have sex with somebody and then that just be it? Like, I mean, hey, we're hooking up, and if I see you in the street with somebody else, that's just it.
Yeah. Hi, Sean.
What up, Cuzzo? Let's see what Heather says.
She says, do you want to read it?
Yep. Lust focuses on self, meeting one's own needs or wants. Love focuses on the other person, meeting their needs and wants. Man, that is a great explanation, Heather. I appreciate that. And that's absolutely true.
That's good stuff.
That's absolutely true. My wife was saying earlier that lust is definitely instant gratification. And so if it's instant gratification, you're only seeking to please yourself. Right? You're looking for, that experience. You're looking for, what's going to be good for you, or, what you want to get out of it. And you're definitely self-pleasing for sure. That's exactly what lust is. Exactly. And love does focus on the other part, right? When you love somebody, you want to please them. You want to make sure that their needs are met. You want to make sure that, that you can potentially give them what they want. You're not just in it, for one thing. You're in it for the both of you to develop that relationship and to keep it going for sure. So I like that. Good job.
To answer your question, can you lay with somebody? I think that answer is going to look different for everybody. For a lot of people, I know, like if you read a lot of documents or talk to a lot of people, they say it's easier for men to have sex with somebody and just cut it off and that just be it. It's just sex. But for a woman, they tend to get more involved and attached because it's just a different interaction. Then also, I believe that you have the population of people that are damaged, unfortunately. They're damaged in their previous relationships. They were damaged by being sexually abused growing up.
Right.
And so they have just come numb to sex, and so there are, a lot of women that are promiscuous as well, that have no attachments to, that individual, but it's because of something that had happened previous in their life. So I just think that looks different for everybody else. However, I believe that there is some sort of attachment when you have sex with somebody, period.
I agree. and I do see the different types of categories of people, right? If they've been abused sexually when they were younger, how it affects them now, right? And so a lot of times, when we've entered into these relationships, what I tend to see a lot of now is the dating period is non-existent. There's not a courting period, right? I mean, I remember hearing some of the old school people say, you gotta, are y'all courting? You're like, what is that? But that's the time that you take, to get to know somebody, to get to know, who they are, where they've been, the interactions that they've had, the experiences that they've experienced in their life, and you sort of form that opinion and say, okay, look, this is what I because of what I know about you, I want to give this a chance. I want to be, in this relationship. I want to see how far this goes. But that part seems to be missing nowadays. Now it's all about, really about instant gratification. Look at all the social media and apps that people have nowadays, right? It's crazy to me. You have the Snapchat, and then you have the TikTok and all those other kind of things. And a lot of those things are focused on mainly, having people be able to open up themselves, right, and show people what they want to show people, and then it disappears, right? We all know that everything never disappears; it just goes somewhere else. But it's geared towards encouraging hooking up, right? I mean, do you like what you see? Yes, I like what I see. Well, call me and we can get together, and then that'll be it, right? And so it really baffles me as to how we've come from valuing what relationships are to now not so much, right? And so people are like, a lot of the young people are kind of offended when you ask me if you have a girlfriend. I'm like, what? I don't have a girlfriend. And like, well, so what's so wrong with that? I'm talking to so and so and so and so and so and so, but it's not just, I have a girlfriend. This is just it, right? Monogamy is starting to become a more of a foreign concept to a lot of the young people. It's all about getting the numbers up, and seeing what they can do and who they can do it with, and we wonder why, there are so many divorces and there's so many broken families and those kinds of things, because we're going from a generation of seeking love to seeking lust and instant gratification, and being in a place where I want to be right now, not knowing that where I am right now, seeking that instant gratification is going to cause issues for me in the future. So I feel like we're living in a right now society where I want things right now. I want things right now. I want things right now. And so it's definitely different. What's up, Aundrea?
Hello. Aundrea has a song out called Love versus Lust.
Yeah, she does.
You can find it on every platform: iTunes, Amazon. Is Amazon Music? Is that a thing? Paris. Look, you can find it on music platforms, okay? It's called Love versus Lust by Aundrea Dawson. Go check it out. But Aundrea says, lust is based on feeling and love is based on the knowledge and willingness to do the right thing regardless of how one might feel.
I agree.
Yep, even Heather hit it on the head. So the question was, Aundrea, I don't know if you just chimed in. We were asking, does anyone believe that you can lay down and have sex with somebody and that's just it? no attachment or anything. That was your question?
Mm-hmm. I want to know what you think. I want to know what my people think.
You're welcome.
So this, I mean, so do you think it's logical to be able to lay with someone, and I mean with no feelings? It's like,
That's a better question. Do you think it's logical?
do you think it's logical? I'll ask it like that. I'll try to.
And what way do you do? This is not that something.
No,
it's fine.
We don't want to be the only ones up here. We want y'all to join in with us. So do you think it's logical to be able to lay down with someone with no feelings attached, right? And what was something that happened maybe in your life that helped you to understand the difference between love and lust?
Boop, your answer.
That'll be the result of lust.
Thinking that it's logical.
It was a deception of thinking that it doesn't have an effect.
Yep.
When it absolutely does have an effect. Yep. That's just what I think. I mean, Aundrea, I thank you for agreeing with me. But I do feel like it is a deception. It is deceptive thinking. It happens all the time.
It does happen all the time. That's why we're talking about it, because it happens all the time. And it may be, and it's not logical. And maybe somebody out there watching will be like, and self-reflect and make different decisions.
Now, I want you to understand one thing. I'm not saying that
one thing. Understand one thing.
Yeah. I want with physical attraction, because it definitely can, right? But we're saying the difference between love and lust is your intentions. So are you in it to hit it and quit it? Or are you in it for the long haul? That's the difference between love and lust. What's up, Sean?
Does that mean bring you on?
I think it does. I think he wants to.
Aundrea, if you want to come on, you let me know.
Yeah, Aundrea, you ready to come on? What's up, Marsha?
I think we can have like, hey, Marsha, there goes Marsha, the one that made my shirt.
Big up to Marsh.
We gave you a shout out at the beginning.
We did.
But thank you again. Go ahead and talk while I do this.
Oh, and so we're just talking about love versus lust, right? We're trying to figure out what you think about, what the difference is. If we can define it. We've already had a couple of really good explanations of what people think love versus lust is, and we are continuing to expound upon that, because we want people don't hear and understand what we feel the definition of the differences between it, because we're living in a different day and time. I mean, just to be completely honest, we are living in a completely different day and different time, and everybody has different ideas of what love is and what lust is, and so we're just trying to be in a place where we can educate and help people, right? And so the questions we've asked so far was, what do you think? Or do you think you can lay down with someone and there be no feelings attached? Right? Is it logical? And what in your mind, or what in your definition, is love, and what is lust? So we're just adding to the conversation. So if you're just joining us and you're picking up on where we are right now, that is exactly where we are. And so we got a couple of feelers out there right now for some individuals to join up with us to kind of expound on this just a little bit more. So what do you think? We want to know what you think. We want this to be an all-around conversation. We want this to be something that we can all learn from, and we can all grow from, and we can be better. So what do you think? It depends on what works for that person. And so I hope you're coming on so that you can expound upon that, because it's very vague. But I got a feeling that he's probably trying to get set up right now. Thought you'd already be set up, man. Okay. So lust is an intense sexual attraction to another person. At its best, lust can be the glue that draws us to a partner and allows for a deep physical connection. At its worst, lust is fueled by idealization and projection of what we want to see rather than the reality of the person and situation. Additionally, it is a wild and a dangerous misconception that ongoing lust is the expectation for a long-term relationship. Can you build a long-term relationship off of lust? What up, Cuzzo? I see you in there, man. There he is.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I was supposed to sing that to everybody. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Okay.
What's up, family? What's up, family? Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
There we go.
Excellent. Excellent.
Love versus lust.
Huh?
I said love versus lust.
Yes, absolutely. It's excellent because it's uncomfortable. You know, it's uncomfortable for people to talk about. It's uncomfortable for people to discuss. I don't. it's even for probably somebody who is. I don't know. I was gonna say probably somebody who's most involved in it would probably even have a problem to talk about it, because then they will have to face what they're going through or what they putting themselves through. I heard you guys say something. I always hear something and I clue into what you guys say. And Marvin, you know, I love you, man. I've known you since you was in the crib.
Yes, sir.
You keep saying, you keep talking about this time we living in, and then these and the way things are being defined in this time. But is that is that fair? I mean, I guess it's a fair statement for people in the world, but I don't have a lot of discussions with people in the world. You know, if that makes sense. I mean, my discussions are with people in the world to bring them out of that, bring them into something. You know, if that makes sense. So I don't have time to entertain how they endorse something or how they define it. I only take time to define it, to hear how they define it, so I can try to lead them in the right direction. If that makes sense.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So, you know, when I hear that, it does something inside of me. Like it doesn't shake anything in me, but it is. I immediately go to that's not the right way to even think about it. You know, I'm not telling you what. I apologize if it sounds like I'm stepping on. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to step on your toes. I'm just saying, just when I hear that myself, for me, my personal thing is, I don't have time to wonder or worry about what people are doing or how they're looking at things for a time frame, because if you really think about it, it should have never changed from beginning to now. It should never, however it was set up, and once the rules were written, that's what we were supposed to do. And that's why many nations are in trouble now, because they didn't follow the rules.
Right.
And then I could go a little bit deeper into it, but I'm not. But I'm gonna say one specific nation didn't pay attention for real. You know, so that's why we refuse to break the mold. You know, we're following the engine, whatever the engine is out there. If twerking is the thing, we're doing it. If hip hop dance is the thing, we're doing it. If roller skating, whatever, however it is at that moment, whichever way the wind blows, that's where we are. and we're suffering for refusing to break the mold.
Yeah.
Me included. I'm very honest about that. But like I said, thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate it. I love y'all. I love to be on. I love the energy.
Yeah.
I wish my friend would come on, but she never will. She
so just a little background, and the reason that I attack from that perspective is simply because I work with a population that's mainly younger. You know what I'm saying? And so I like to bring attention to kind of what they're going through, because I feel like when I was younger, if I would have had somebody who would have attacked real issues, that it would have helped me, understand and not be ashamed to come forward and say, this is kind of what I'm going through. This is, what I need. I need to hear somebody say this. I need to hear somebody say that it's okay. I don't need to be condemned all the time for what I'm doing, because I know that back in the day, if you did this when you back in the day, and now you don't remember it, now you judging me, you know what I'm saying? And so I just like to be real with people, man, because I'm just like, if I'm gonna do, what God has called me to do, and draw people, through my life, through my witness, then I want to be real. You know what I'm saying? And so I like to talk to the younger people, because they're our future. You know what I'm saying? And we have a lot of young people that go back and they watch this, and sometimes things go over their head. You know what I'm saying? How many times have you been in a service at church, when you were younger, that you did not understand what nobody was saying, and you left out just like you came in? You know what I'm saying? But somebody would take the time to break it down and say, look, this is what it is. You're going to mess up. God still loves you. Keep it moving. And so that's why I bring it up, and to say, this is, the time that we're living in, is because, when I go to work every day, I'm reminded, of the time that we live in. You know what I'm saying? And I consider myself to be somewhat old school. I'm not as old school as you are, cuz. But I consider myself to be somewhat old school, but it's, I want people to understand, right, that you're going to deal with lustful situations. You're going to deal with situations that deal with, love, but we need to be able to identify what is what, because it looks almost exactly the same sometimes.
Hey,
you understand that?
No, I got you. No, I just want to know how to respond. I don't want to put out any crap, man. I like to have well thought out, responses, or it's not really even a response, because I'm not trying to dispute anything you're saying. I want to add to what you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I want to be in addition to what you're saying. I don't want to say something that's going to contradict you, because what you're saying is absolutely right. The absence of leadership, can lead to disaster.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't know how to accept leadership when it's coming. Like some older people, I'm getting older now, but some older people are unwilling to hear from the wisdom of younger people. There might be somebody who's more learned or more focused than you at a younger age. Something that, like you said, I wish I would have had that.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I would have had that. You know what I'm saying? There was things that I thought I knew, man. I will give an example, because I like to give examples. The only books I've ever read cover to cover were written by Michael Basin. All the books in the world, all the books I've started and never finished, the only books I've ever read cover to cover were written by Michael Basin. Y'all know who Michael Basin is, right? You heard of him? Michael Basin? All right, right now he's a like a radio host now. He had a talk show at one point in time. He was kind of popular in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? But all his books were the same. If you read them, no disrespect to Michael Basin, but they're all the main character in his books were virtually him. You understand what I'm saying? They were a version of himself in these different stories, and he wrote a book called God's Gift to Women, How and Why Men Cheat, blah blah blah, stuff like that, you know. And I read those books when I was in the Army, and I was about 25-ish. I was 25. And in one of his books, he said, you, as a man or as an adult, you don't become an adult until you're in your late 30s. That's what he said. Now, at this point in my life, I felt like I had my stuff together. You know, I was doing pretty good in the military, and I was responsible for all these people. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, what is he talking about? I got my stuff together. I'm in charge of all these people. I'm blah blah blah. I got my kids, my family. I'm whatever at the time. And then life kicked in, and I started to age. And then I met that age requirement that he had in that book. And I look back at myself at 24, 25 years old, and I was like, golly, I was lost in the sauce. Let me tell you something else. I'm 44 years old now. 44. And I look back at myself at that age requirement that I met. And I was like, dang, I was still lost then. You know what I'm saying? And I can tell you from experience, because I know you guys are younger than me, when you're 44 and you look back at where you guys are now, fairly settled, fairly, clear-minded, got your stuff together, you're going to look back and say, golly. I'm honest. I'm just being honest with you. It's not that you guys are completely lost and running through the dark. You know what I'm saying? Nothing like that. But you're just going to realize that you have learned so much more in just a small bit of time.
Yeah. So
when we talking about love versus lust, when you're younger, the consequences of it don't matter. You don't know how to absorb that. And I know right now you both can picture in your minds how you were when you were 20 years old, 21, 19. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
We can joke about it now. We have joked about it, haven't we? Both of you? So I'm telling you got to understand that the love versus lust, unless at a young age you find your way. You find your way, even with tutelage, even with mentorship. You still got to find your own way. I can tell so many stories, man, but I don't want to monopolize the time like I normally do with my big mouth. I'm gonna say this. I found out something, man. The talking doesn't just come from our side of the family either. The shepherds talk a lot, bro. they talk a lot. But anyway, moving on. I just want y'all to know that when it comes, I just want to say this. Love versus lust. It's hard to disseminate it. It's hard to separate. Like you said, it almost looks the same. But it only looks the same on how you were taught to look at it, period. How you were taught to look at it. If you were taught to look at, if all you were ever taught was one day you're going to grow up and you're going to go through these phases and you're going to start looking at another person a certain way, that's all you were ever taught, or all you had to learn on your own, or all you learned from your buddies or your friends or whatever. That's how you're going to look at it. If someone had a healthy conversation with you from a young adult and growing into an adult, then that's how you're going to view it. That's all. That's what I say. One caveat: experience will change you too. Yeah. So even if you were taught the right way to look at it, if something traumatic or something catastrophic or something big happens in your life, it can change the way you focus in on those two things too. It can change. So, that's what I'm gonna say for right now. I'm gonna let y'all talk. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Anybody has any questions for the subject matter expert, please shoot. Or us.
Remember, this is an open and honest conversation.
Open conversation.
So, fire away. We're here to answer questions. That's what we want. We want to be in a situation where we can answer some questions, help people out. So, I was reading this one thing. Oh, there it
Got the glasses on.
is. Let's see. Let me. I guess I want to ask this question too. Is it? And I'll just kind of preface with this. Is it fair to say that we are products of our own environment? It's fair to say that, right? We learn different things from experiences that we go through in life. We learn, certain foundational principles from, households when we're young, growing up. So, where do we get our perception of love from? Where does it come from?
The people who raised you, the older individuals that were your caretakers, your guardians. I can't tell your mom and dad because there's a lot of people who aren't raised by their mom and dad, but
Right.
The individuals that reared you up.
Oh, look, Aundrea's here.
Oh, awesome. We're going to bring Aundrea on.
Good job.
Hey,
y'all.
welcome.
What's up, Drea?
What? Oh, hold on just a second. I gotta. Oh my goodness, I'm lost here. Hold on. Okay, sorry. What's up?
Hey, we were just talking about is it fair to say that we are products of our own environment, and where do we get our idea, our perception of love from?
Our definition.
Ooh. So there's two ways. I think, first of all, the true definition of love we know comes from God. God is love. Mm-hmm. And so in there, the scripture tells us exactly what love is in 1 Corinthians. Let me find it. I was looking at it just a minute ago. 1 Corinthians 13. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not puff itself up. It's not self-seeking. It doesn't rejoice in evil, but it rejoices in truth. And it tells us that it never fails. Love does not fail. And so that's one thing. And I think even in this world, because we live in our temporary bodies, in our flesh, we tend to grab the deception of love, what the world tells us what love is, and what we see on television, the different meanings of it that we adopt. So I know, like we talk about the physical nature, and one of the misconceptions and how we use the word is where we cause confusion, because we say making love, and you can't make love. Mm-hmm. So to be honest, and so then if that was the case, then there wouldn't be no rape, there wouldn't be sexual abuse, there wouldn't be molestation, because you can't make it. And when you associate that with that, it confuses what love is, because that's the only thing that we talk about, how you make love. You can't make it. Love comes from God, and it's something that is true, and it does not just have to do with that in the first place. It's not just physical, it's emotional, it's everything, and it lasts forever. And it's, based on what you know and what you are willing to do unconditionally, regardless of how you feel. So
agreed.
She said something very important. Unconditional. Now, as human beings, as human beings, we tend to only service that portion of love, a conditional love. Like, I love you for the moment. I love you while you're part of my life. But when you're gone, I discontinue that love. We tend to live in that cloud, which I find very confusing. Like, how can you love someone at one point and then turn the love off? Now, I understand there's a difference between loving someone like you want a physical relationship with them and loving someone because they're who they are. You know what I'm saying? And it really, that conditional love is what gets us in trouble, is because it's very temporary. and it's in our minds. We've been taught, like I said, I'm older than you guys, but the same generational curse is that we can all do fine by ourselves. So we don't take time to pull somebody else in to us. You understand what I'm saying? It's not everybody. There are exceptions. There are exceptions where people pull each other in and believe that they belong together, and they believe that they were set to be together. But what we do as humans now, we live so much in that cloud of conditional love. Like, I only love you because you're in my life right now. If you leave me right now, or you're not part of my life, then I'll forget you exist. You know what I'm saying? Unconditional love is what we need to tap into. And we need to, it's not something like she said, we can't make it, but we can talk to our children. We can talk to young people and explain to them the difference. A lot of people, like you said, where do we get it from? Where do we get our perception of love? We get it from the people who we see around us, the adults or whatever that came before us. I say this all the time, and I don't mean any harm when Marvin and Roslyn, I don't mean any harm. I'm not trying to put you guys out there, but you guys are the only successful marriage in our family. And this side of the family, on this side of the family, the only one. We didn't have that. But if I come over there and hang out with you guys, I might see several. You understand what I'm saying? Several successful marriages. Maybe it's not the first one, but it's the one, it works. The one that they're in now works. You understand what I'm saying? And that didn't even happen on this side. It didn't happen. It just hasn't happened. You know, and I don't mean any harm with that. You know, I'm just telling, I mean, I'm not even harm to you guys, but I don't mean any harm to our family members. I'm just telling you that it just hasn't, in our immediate family, I should say, there are no successful marriages. You guys were the only one. So in order for there to be a guideline, we would actually have to watch you guys, you know, and we would have to come, and I have to bring my kids, look in this museum. You know what I'm saying? That's what we talk. You think I'm joking, but that is a conversation that happens in, you know how I am with my children. You know how I am. And we talk about that. They're like, man, Uncle Wayne and Rosie, they the only one. And they'll rub it in on, you know, like they rub salt in the wound, or, you know, shepherds don't pull. So they're like, Dad, ooh, wow, ooh, blah, blah, blah. You know, so I'm sorry, but I'm just want y'all to know, you know, I want to say that we need to get out of the conditional bubble and find our way into the unconditional bubble, and understand that even if someone is not a part of your life, you don't have to love them. Like, I don't expect to love someone like I want to be with them. That's not what I mean, but I want to love them if they need me. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to disappear from their life, whereas I can't do anything for them, or they can't do anything for me in a loving manner just because we're not together anymore. You know, that's, you know, in the past or whatever. You know what I mean?
I want to love you in different roles, because the roles change. Yeah.
Good stuff. Thank you
that's
both.
Real good.
Just want to read this real quick.
What Sheila said.
Hi, Sheila.
I got something deep to say.
Where you started doesn't dictate how you end. Our upbringing may have been an unhealthy example of love, but as we learn, grow, and experience genuine love, people have the opportunity to grow in those areas. Yeah. I completely agree. Because I'm like, at some point, you have to take responsibility, right. You know, for your own actions, and not blame your upbringing.
Man, it is definitely what I believe, because I definitely believe when you know better, or when you learn better, that's an opportunity to do better, right? And I put it on all my emails. Hopefully some people that I send emails to will catch that, right? And you know, would happen to be a little bit better, but and so this is, I mean, it's a perfect example of this, Sheila, because last week, you know, my wife and I were talking, and there are some things that I was doing that didn't line up in her eyes as good, right? And so we had several conversations about it before, and I was in a place where, you know, I was hearing her, but I really wasn't understanding her, right? So I was processing and I was listening, but I didn't think that I really got it, right? And so when we got to talking, she came in when she was talking to me, she was like, it's not about all this other stuff, right? It's like the only thing that it's about is it's about you protecting my heart, right? And when she told me that, man, it floored me. I mean, it brought me to tears because I had no idea, like that, like that. That's what it was about, right? And so like I said, when you learn better, you do better, right? And so I grew up a certain way, saw examples of what relationships were in my life and those kinds of things. And so I was in a place where I was operating off of uh, what I learned back then, right? And so I learned more, I start to do better, even more. And so it's when we talk about learning better and doing better, and it's not where you start, it's where you end up. That is absolutely true because you can absolutely learn, and you can absolutely grow, and you can absolutely do better. Sheila, that is profound. Thank you for that.
Wow.
Thank you, Sheila.
And that goes,
Hey man, making people cry.
Go ahead.
and that goes into what I meant by breaking the mold. That's exactly. She's absolutely right. You got to break the mold. When I was in the military, I was coming up there as the sergeant major, and him and I are still great friends now. And he was, like a father to me. He told me about his upbringing, how his mom had 2 children with the same man, but they never married or whatever. They never married, and he decided that he didn't want the same for his children. He didn't want to, have a bunch of kids all over. Now he did. He was married one time. That didn't work, and he got married again. But he's been married. I mean, they've been married 40 years or whatever now. You see what I'm saying? He said, but he just did not want that same thing that his mom had to deal with his father. He called it breaking the mold. You see what I'm saying? I wish I would have we spent some time together, but I wish I would have spent more time around him. And don't get me wrong, like I said, he's a good friend of mine. I mean, we talk all the time, but I wish I would have spent more time with him when I was younger. Because when he was talking to me about certain things when I was younger, I was like, I wish this old man would leave me alone. You know what I'm saying? I was like, if he doesn't leave me alone, I'm gonna be like, leave me alone. But I can't tell him, you know what I'm saying? So I just had to listen. And the strange thing was, most of what he was saying to me made sense, but I had no way of archiving it because I had no point of, no start point. I had nothing to go off of. And that was, looking back on that, that's sad because I am that old man now who gives out the information like, take your time, look at everything, take it for what it is. Right. We just don't raise a lot of people we don't raise our children the way, not us. I mean, but you can see children not being raised in a manner of which would create an environment for a great relationship or a good relationship, a decent relationship. That goes back to what she said. They have to now learn it on their own. They have to figure out that this is not normal. What they are in is not normal, and that what is normal, they can build it themselves. Unfortunately.
Did you want to add anything, Aundrea?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I kind of missed some of the conversation because I got off and I couldn't hear anything. But no, I didn't like what Sheila said. Yeah, that's real good. It's true. Like we do how we pick up things, and it is like we learn from those mistakes. Like we learn from that, and it is especially when it comes to lust, you figure it out. You figure out that it is lust, and so and that it wasn't love. Yeah, you figure it out, and it goes back to what learning the right thing. So when you know what was right, or even if you learn in the process what is right at that time, and then like we're saying, it's important to teach our children that what love is, and even in the churches and things like that, and not ignore it, because a lot of times it's things that isn't taught in the church a lot of times, and it's sometimes just kind of left to people to figure it out. And people are pushed into love situations when it's lust. Instead of dealing with the lust, they're being pushed into love situations, and then it doesn't work out. It doesn't, where a lot of problems come. So
I agree, 100%.
We have a comment from Mama D.
My mama.
Marvin's mama too.
Speaking as an older person, from an older person's point of view, our parents did not speak of love or lust. We as children found our way through the web of myths and lies.
There it is.
It's funny. I was gonna say that back in the day, a lot of people were forced into marriages, or we don't do that so much anymore. Me and my kids had a conversation about that. Tierney asked me, why don't we do arranged marriages? And I said, well, arranged marriages came from, it was a financial thing, really. If I was a father, I needed my sons to help me work, so I could tend whatever piece of land we had. It was an agrarian lifestyle where we had to tend the animals and whatever. But if I had a bunch of daughters, I need to get them married off because it's just more mouths to feed. So you put them, which is sad. I know it doesn't sound great, but you will marry your daughter off to an older person or whatever. You force them into this relationship so their husband could take care of them and they could take care of their own house or whatever. Another thing is, what we don't have is that community anymore, because even though you married your daughter off, if they didn't leave and go anywhere, everybody still came together and they shared their goods. If you raised corn and I raised cows and somebody raised pigs or whatever, we brought all that to the table. And usually the families all ate at one house, which it's just not the lifestyle we have anymore. And I try to explain to her, there's no need for me to marry you off to anybody, because you can, unfortunately, the way the world is set up, you can make your own way in the world. I don't need you don't necessarily need to be married to make your way in the world. But I also explained to her that we were designed to be with someone. We weren't designed to make our own way like that. We're supposed to be two halves where, where you are not making it up, the other person picks up the slack and you become one. But we all trying to do it all is what's driving us batty now, I think.
Yeah. I think it's really important that we acknowledge that people sometimes shy away from teaching the truth, right? Like Aundrea was saying, like in churches, people don't necessarily teach, what love is and how, because I remember, talking to some other people, and they were just saying, whatever the pastor said is what we did, right? And I mean, we just kind of went along with it is what the gist of what I got from what they were saying. But my mom was saying, that their parents didn't speak about it, right? I mean, they're just in relationships, that they were just out there doing what everybody thought, was normal. You know what I'm saying? And so when we look at that and we think about, all the people out there who aren't getting, the education to know what love is. People aren't really getting the education to know how to identify what lust is, right? And then that cycle continues about breaking the mold, is what Sean was talking about earlier. And so it just goes over and over and over and over again. And so my question is, when does it stop? Like who is the one that steps up and says, look, this is not right? And just me personally, I was in a situation one time, not going to use names or locations, but I was in a situation one time where I was with an older man, not with an older man, but I was in the presence of an older man, right? And a younger man came in and he was talking about his a lady that he had a kid with or whatever, and the older man that I was with was like, oh, you should need to get married. I'm like, what? Well, we're talking about issues. We got issues going on. Like, I mean, we can't even shake hands because we married. You think I need to get married to this individual? And so that to me was a clear indicator that love was not being taught the right way. And so I had to kind of step out of that because I was like, I'm not going to be a part of this because this is crazy. you setting somebody up for disaster, right? And so it's really important when you have influence to be able to, you know, to speak the truth. You know what I'm saying? And we go through things in our life. We have these experiences in our life, and I think that we are to learn from those things, especially when we go through things that hurt. You know, when people come, you know, around us and they're going through some of the same thing, I think it's our job to say, look, I've been there where you are, and this is what I learned from it. Let me just kind of put that out. I got to tell you my whole story, right? But I can tell you, you know, I've been sad one time, and this is what I did, you know, to bring myself out of this, or these are the scriptures that I read to, you know, to feel better. And so I feel, you know, Christian, that is what we're supposed to do. But sometimes, you know, we shy away from that because we don't want people to know that we've been through things in our life. We don't want people to understand that we had experience in X, Y, and Z, because if they knew some of the things that we've been through in our life, we think people will look at us, you know, differently. But I see it in a completely different way. I see that God gave me an opportunity to go through this, and if I can use it to help you, then that is exactly what I'm going to do. If you happen to look at me differently, I mean, that's just on you. You know what I'm saying? But we've had enough. We've been around enough people who try to act like something they are not, and it causes more damage than just being honest and being truthful and saying, "Look, I've been there, done that, got the T-shirt. Let me show you how to be better." And so that's why I really kind of am the way I am, is because I feel like, you know, being open and honest is better than, you know, hiding your truth in the closet. So I'm not talking for a long time.
I have a question. Are y'all almost done?
Yeah.
I have a question.
You mean we're done talking or done?
No, like done with this thing.
Oh yeah, do we need to stay on a little bit?
I don't know. I have a question. So my question is, because we talk about love and lust, and sometimes outside of marriage, because like leading into marriage. So my question is, can lust exist in a marriage? And I'm not talking about like having another side person, but I'm talking about between the two people that are married. Can lust exist?
Absolutely.
He's so funny.
I mean, let me ask you this. Let me clarification. You mean in a healthy way, or like, not that lust is ever healthy, but I mean,
stop.
Do you mean in a healthy way, or do you mean like in something like just in a very bad way?
Because lust is a bad thing. I see it as a bad thing. So that's why I say, can it exist in a marriage between two people who love each other, quote unquote, but or like, can it exist? How does that look? How can someone recognize that? Or, you know,
it looks like a very early divorce.
Yeah, it does. Let me show you some.
But Robert, we have a commenter that says, Robert says, yes, it can. So maybe we can come on another time and elaborate. Or
I'm gonna tell you why. Because there have been so many marriages that have been built on lust, right? You give it somebody, they're meeting those physical needs, and it, you know, puts you in the mindset, the deception that this is what I want for the rest of my life. But then when you enter into the union with them, then you realize, you know, you don't have anything in common except for sex. That's it, right? Personalities are completely different. Goals and values, morals are completely different. And then, you know, you kind of wake up one day and say, well, this is the person that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with, but I don't know anything about them. You know what I'm saying? So when you begin a relationship in a purely physical way, it can blind you to thinking that this is love, when really those physical needs are being met. No other real needs are being met. Not emotional, not support, nothing. Just the physical need, right? And you're like, man, but this is so good, I can't let it go. And you know, now you're married, and you know, there's certain tasks that you have to complete, certain conversations that you got to have. And you realize, oh man, I made a big mistake, right? I met somebody years ago that you know, the relationship was based purely on sex, right? And then come, you know, trying to talk about money, trying to talk about, you know, children. He didn't even know that she had kids, right? And so, yeah, they went off and got married, came back, and she bought the house. He's like, whoa, what is this? And so that's why I said it ends in pretty early divorce, right? But I absolutely believe that lust can exist in a marriage for sure.
So it just depends on what definition you're using. Because I think if we looked at the definitions, because I think what definition Aundrea is talking about is the lust that is, because it's one of the 7 deadly sins, right?
Mm-hmm.
It says about being a sin. Now, hear me out. When you say lust, I think when some people say lust in a marriage, it's like, I want to have sex with you. I desire to have sex with you. And that's just it. You know what I mean? And then I can kind of entertain that. But this, it says lust, intense sexual desire or appetite, uncontrolled or illicit sexual desire that somebody has. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just read this little thing. It says, lust is one of the 7 deadly sins or capital sins, whichever you prefer. But I don't think too many of us in secular religious spaces really pay attention to lust. Lust isn't sexuality or the acceptance of humans as sexual beings. And lust isn't the sexual attraction we experience when we desire someone. So I think we need to see what perspective, right, we're talking about when we say lust.
Let me, can I go a different direction with it real quick then?
Yes, and then Aundrea has something to say as well.
Okay. I'll let her go first. Go ahead, Aundrea.
Oh, I was gonna kind of go a different direction too, but let's see. Wade saying what you're talking about the physical. What about, because lust isn't just like Robert was saying on there, that it's not, it could be a desire. So sometimes we look at it as a physical desire, but sometimes it is like our other desire. So even looking at a marriage where somebody marries somebody just for their money,
Mm-hmm.
because they're greedy. So in that instance, that could be lust too, where you marry somebody just because they have money, or you marry somebody just for you want clout, basically, because that it's lust is greed in a sense. You want something, and it's not necessarily just according to the physical nature, but it could be a whole lot of other things, but it's still selfish. Like Heather was saying earlier, it's very selfish. It's something you're trying to gain for yourself and not looking out for that other person.
And see, and that's a good point, because when I learned about lust, I only learned the physical, sexual component of what lust is, right? And so that's where I'm speaking from, right? But there are obviously so many other different aspects of the word lust, you know, of that aspect, or that word, that subject of what lust is. And so
what I was gonna say was the same thing. Like, so I'm gonna go just a little bit deeper. Not deeper. I'm gonna try to go caveat off what she said. How she said is, you know, so if I'm looking at your money, and that's probably greed, like she said, that's greed. But lust is something, I think it's internal. So if let's say I was to marry someone who did love me, but I lusted after something else. I desired a need for, like, let's say my job. I lusted after the success that it brought. So I was trying to get to the next level and the next level and the next level. So instead of lusting or loving my spouse and paying attention to my family and building a family, I was lusting after the success. It's not really success, but the adoration, the success, the promotions of my job. You understand what I'm saying? Let's make it that simple. It's that simple. Because anything else is, like she said, like if it's money, then it's greed or whatever. But that's for something else. Like for me personally, or if she lusted after looking good or vanity, which is another, I believe that's another seven deadly sin, right? But So I believe lust can make you drift off into something else. It can drift you off into greed. It can drift you off into vanity. Lusting after food, that's gluttony. You see what I'm saying? So I think lust is probably one of the most powerful of the seven deadly sins there are, because it can lead you. It's a gateway to another sin, and they may all do that. I never really studied it like that, but I'm just saying. So instead of thinking about it as a sexual thing, so much as a sexual thing, it could be something else that is a gateway to your other sins or whatever. So, and that's why it's so powerful, and that's why it masks itself as love. It can mask itself as love. That's why you said it looks almost the same. And so if it can mask itself, it'll allow you to venture off into other sins, and that'll pull you further down into the darkness or whatever. It's kind of,
I agree.
but somebody said it was could be a good thing, and I was like,
My
no.
brother.
Robert,
No.
Can't see Robert on here.
No.
I want to be Rob on, man.
Yeah, but that's good. We can talk about this for a long time. Question is good.
Awesome topic. I really, this is awesome. Yeah.
It brings a lot of things
To light.
up. Yeah,
Mhm, change your perspective on things.
for sure.
I'll be honest with you. I'm going to say this. And as I get older, I have abstained from relationships or whatever, the relationship, even the last one I was in, because it's not even, I put so much stuff on the table, you know what I'm saying? Because you just, at this age, you just put everything out there on the table. It's like, this is everything. And if, these are the criterion that you have to meet, or that I need to meet in order for us to be successful. And even at this age, you find people that are still out there gaming their way into something, or trying to convince you that it's the right way to go. And so you really have to take your time to focus in to see if these people meet you on that level. If you meet them, you can almost immediately in conversation. I was telling a classmate of mine, she keeps going back into this relationship, but the relationship is bad. And she keeps, when it gets bad, she wants to, I should get paid. I should have finished my psychology degree because instead of going into business, because she wants to talk. And I'm like, I'm not a counselor, but she wants to talk. And I'm like, every time you and this guy break up, you come and talk to your friend. But I told you the last time that not that he was no good for her, that she was no good for him. She didn't meet his criteria and he didn't meet her criteria. And she knew it in the first conversation. But lust drug you into something else. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm trying to say. We have to know, if I meet someone in the first conversation we have, we don't match up. We're not yoked equally. We don't meet up. At this age, you should know exactly where you're going. Spiritually, physically, financially, mentally, you should be headed down the right path. Even if you don't know exactly, you should be headed down the right path. If those conversations don't match up on the first conversation, you should be able to tell, you should be a big enough person to tell that person that this is not going to work. All I have for you is lust. You know what I'm saying? You should be able to tell, you look good in those jeans, or whatever you want to say. That's it. You should be able to say it. We should have been able to say it in our 20s if we would have saved ourselves a lot of heartache. But I'm just going to say that that's how I feel about it.
Okay.
Thank y'all for sharing your views. Dante wants to know. She said, I'm a little confused. Are you saying I can't lust after my husband?
I think again, like those are terms that we use to change the meaning. So from the perception of what you're saying, probably yes, but from what the term really means, and I'm gonna read this scripture real quick. It's 1 John 2:16. It says, "For everything in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life comes not from the Father, but from the world."
Mm.
So even all those things that in a marriage, when you're seeking those physical needs or whatever it is, those things come from God. It's not lust, it's love. Because even the scripture that tells us that it's from, like, your body doesn't belong to you and neither does your spouse belong to themselves, but it's not saying that they could just take it, because that's another sense, because I've heard of people who've been abused in their marriage sexually. And it kind of sounds like that's crazy, but that comes from lust. But it doesn't mean that, you know, you can just take that, but it means that you do it unselfishly on both sides. It's a mutual thing. So it really isn't love. I mean, it isn't lust, but we've been told that that particular thing is lust, period. But it is a part of love if it's in the right confinement. If it's in a marriage, then it's love. So
I agree. So yes, Dante, you can love after your husband.
You can love after him.
And Robert says, I just said, I love to say where people are from. So Sean, shout out, where are you, in Alabama?
I'm in Alabama, Mobile.
Aundrea?
New Mexico.
New Mexico. Dante, England. And we have Robert in Michigan. So that's awesome.
I thought Dante's in Oklahoma City right now.
I don't know where Dante is.
Oh, okay.
Robert says, I just said it is simple desire. What you're desiring can be very unhealthy. I still don't believe lust in and in itself is bad. Yes, desire for wrong things or misdirected lust destroys healthy relationships. I see your points. Very good. And Dante says, got it. And Robert should be on next week, Robert and Jocelyn. So we're excited for that. But anyway, so we went over about 20 minutes. So this is great. It's so much fun.
He said, so what?
I got to see Aundrea. Hello.
Whatever.
It's good. Anyway, so do y'all want to share anything real quick before we say goodnight? Aundrea, Sean?
I just thank you for having me on. Thanks.
Yes. And again, she's the artist.
Oh.
She actually has a song called Love versus
Lust. On all the major platforms. Go ahead and tell them what they can find you.
Oh, you can find me on all the song is on all major platforms. I'm on Instagram, Facebook. Instagram, I'm on there as Dawson. Facebook is Aundrea Dawson. And except I have that. I have another EP out as well. That's on all major platforms called Trouble. So,
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Trouble.
Sean?
No, I'm just hey, thanks for having me on again, guys. You know, I love you guys. I love to be on. So you know, thank you. You know, you knew when you doing exactly what that hand meant. Put up the hand up. You knew exactly what it was. I was laughing so hard. He's like, oh, he already knew what was up. Yeah. So I appreciate that. It was good seeing you, Aundrea. And I guess I'll be buying your songs now. I'm going broke for something else.
It don't cost that much. Yeah.
All right, y'all.
I guess we're going to end with a word of prayer, and then we're going to
end together. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Father God, we just thank you for who you are. Lord, we just thank you for the platform to be able to conversate. We thank you for the platform to be able to educate and to learn. We thank you, oh God, for them that are listening. We ask that whatever's going on in their life, oh God, that does not line up with your word. We ask, oh God, that you would just motivate them to seek you and to change whatever it is in their life, oh God, that it would indeed line up with your word, and that they would give it all to you. We thank you for your goodness and your mercy. We thank you for your love, and we thank you for your peace. We ask that you just continue to bless us, keep us, and protect us at the next appointed time. We give you all the honor, all the glory, and all the praise is yours. In the mighty name of Jesus, we do pray. Amen.
Amen.
Next Thursday, we're going to come back on. We're hoping to have Doc and his wife on with us, and we'll hopefully have another great conversation. So next Thursday, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We love you guys with the love of Jesus Christ. Bless.
Peace.
Thanks, Sean. Thank Aundrea. Appreciate
Thank
you.
y'all.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you. You too.